So here's the intro. Peak Bikes is having a demo day today, and this is the brand new Giant Rain. It's a small, and it's got the Flight Attendant with the newest generation Lyric with the buttercups in it, TRP 4-piston brakes. I've already ridden it, but this is just kind of like they go through a walk around for the bike, and I will explain how the bike feels. Let's try it out. Yeah. All right, so Peak has a demo, and now I'm riding a Giant Trance X with AXS drivetrain with Flight Attendant and the new Lyric with the new chassis. I already rode 13 miles today. I didn't bring my credit card the first time because I rode to the trail. So now my legs probably aren't as good. They set it up a little firm, just the way I like it. This is a small. I have no idea what the geometry is like on this road, completely blind. I'll look at the numbers when I get home. So this is purely just based on what the bike is doing. So since I am only limited to this side, no big jumps at jetline. They did not give me the AXS dropper, but so far I can really hear the valves going on the wow, it shifts really, really fast. Okay, that looks a little sprightly. Oh, my legs are so tired. Did 6 laps on a pump track in session, jet line. All right, I don't have my legs anymore. Wow, feels, the shifting is instantaneous. This is a small, and I normally ride bigger bikes, but this bike does not feel small. Still getting used to the ergo on this thing. The shifter not shifting as often as I'd like. Dropper on this lever is very tight. The brand X dropper, rebranded as something else. Yeah, it is the highest the seat will go. They raised it 1.5 inches for me already. Still too short. I really hear the Flight Attendant going. The rear suspension doesn't bob. It actually feels as efficient as a hardtail. You know, without the feedback of hearing the clicks and feeling the cable, can't really tell if it recognized the request to shift or not, but you definitely feel it. Shifts as fast as the XT, if not a little faster. I know people complain that the Maestro suspension is really more geared towards the small bump compliance side rather than being supportive. But with this live valve, no, not live valve, with this Flight Attendant, it's actually really good. Skinny here, no problem, ate it right up. In fact, it's easier than my hardtail on that because my rear's not bouncing all over the place through those logs or through those stumps. Man, this is really freaking good. I have no idea how much travel this bike has. Geometry feels good. Yeah. Doesn't feel small at all. All right, here's the fast parts. There's a little bit of a knock. I wonder where the knock's coming from. This does have buttercups too, you know. Seat could get more out of the way. Yeah, traction is supreme. I don't really hear the derailleur slapping around either. But let's see if I can gap this bridge. Gapped it. Anyways, no, I don't feel the derailleur slapping around. But this trail ain't that gnarly anyway. Woo. Woo, woo, woo. Didn't have a good line, still made it. Oh yeah, that's nice. Thank you, Gus, for making it so big. Wait. All right, hitting the drop canning thing with the Flight Attendant so far. The suspension feels very smooth and very firm. Let's see. Okay. Pretty plush. Let's see how does it pump through these 4 rollers here. Okay, it's not bad. Should I try hitting that step up? The lips already got flattened, but let's see. I gotta hit the one on the left. The one on the right is too poppy for the speed. Okay. Sure, I was running a little slow. Barely. All right, time to hit more jumps here. Don't have much time left. Yeah, this thing jumps great. I'm generally pretty jaded when it comes to riding bikes. But it really does feel like you have the best of all worlds. See how it handles the pump track. Legs are so tired. Almost jumped off the trail. So I'm at the pump track now. The brakes are really feeling good too. These TRPs, E23, yeah, they're nice. And this thing is locked up. Like when it's on, it just somehow knows that when nobody's on this thing, the suspension is full firm. This is pretty amazing. Maybe that's why this doesn't feel like your average full suspension bike. The Bob. Now I'm sitting on it though. It's weird, when I was at PlayStation, I felt it going to sag a little bit. Quite a bit actually. Well, all right, let's see how this thing pumps. I just caught my breath. Now, on the hardtail, I'll tell you when I can start rolling and I'll still complete the lap. Let's see how this does. I'm rolling from the top on the full suspension bike. On the hardtail, I can roll from here and still finish the lap. All right, this is a much better run than the last time. But again, it's like, that's it. Oh, my legs are so tired. Let's jump that log. Okay, sprint. Yep. That felt good. I think I have an idea what this thing's capable of now. Let's see how it feels sitting on this rock section. Opens up quite nice. There must be something that detects the high-speed compression circuit, because at low speed it's very firm. But once you run into stuff, it's quite smooth actually. Yeah, this bottom bracket, I gotta see how long these cranks are. My foot touched the ground a few times. I'm used to riding bikes with 165 cranks. So, on to the next section. Still getting used to which way does what on the shifter. Let's do this hook to flat test on it. Okay, feels decent. Okay. Very smooth. Maybe the buttercups do something. I don't feel a lot of the chatters. So, I don't know what kind of... This does have the new Devon Air Plus as a spring side. I'm going to review the geometry and tell you my thoughts on it based on what the numbers show and based on what it feels when I'm riding. But thank you Peak Bikes for the opportunity. Let me ride such a sick bike. I'll get back to you guys. Alright, so now I got some time to think about how the ride was today. I would say I can't really do an honest assessment of the Giant Rain because the Flight Attendant completely changes the characteristic of how the suspension reacts and how the bike actually feels. The Maestro suspension on the Giants has a reputation of being very soft off the top with very low mid-stroke support. It's kind of more of a plow bike, like a magic carpet, versus something that's fun and very poppy and lively feeling. The Flight Attendant, as I was riding, I was actually noticing how it actually works. Is what it does is it totally either opens or locks up the low speed compression, and you can't really set it. Like when you set it more for verb, it will lock up the low speed more. So it will actually, I've had like almost no perceivable pedal bob, and it's actually the least bobby bike, full suspension bike I've ever ridden. And that really stands out. And now I don't know how a regular Giant Rain would actually behave without the Flight Attendant, but it's almost magical that when it hits a high-speed chattery section, the low-speed compression completely opens back up and it lets the high-speed compression take over. It's very poppy and it's very responsive, and it feels like it wants to sprint. It rides really good, and the live valve not, I don't know why I keep calling it, yeah, the Flight Attendant really makes the bike. Now, in terms of how the GX AXS drivetrain feels, the GX shifts and behaves as you expect. All the hype in terms of the shift speed is true. I would say it shifts even a little bit faster than my XT. Now, the XT is probably the fastest shifting drivetrain I've tried because it has that instant release where the gear change happens at the beginning of the stroke versus mid-stroke, like how a SRAM or a Dior or an SLX would shift. But it doesn't really offer anything to the regular guy unless you're kind of like me and you swap from frame to frame a lot. That really saves a lot of time because you just have to reset the B tension. You don't have to cut like zip ties or reroute the cable for the shifter. You can leave the shifter off the bars. You can convert to single speed. It's so much easier to just have this thing without having to manage an extra cable on it. Now, regarding the geometry of the rein, it's actually like in the middle of the road. It's not really that progressive. 64.6 degree head angle. They had a small there because they figured a medium might be too long. This actually ends up being the shortest bike I've ridden in a long time. It's got a wheelbase of less than 1200. It's only 1191. My Scout was longer than this after I overforked it. My Big Al was like 1210 and my Hanzo ESD is 1220. A medium would suit me better. The reach on the small was 423 and the medium is 450. The seat angle was kind of middle of the road at 76.4, so I didn't feel the seat being too slack. So, all right, so back to what I was saying. The main takeaway is Flight Attendant is mind-blowing. It's actually transforms any long travel bike. The rein actually has surprisingly short amount of travel in the frame at 146 and a 170 fork. Now you throw one of these bad boys into a 170, 180 travel frame, it's amazing because you can literally have the efficiency of a hardtail, no bob, and you can just bomb downhill. And the Buttercups actually is getting me to look into the newer Zeb, the 2023 models with the Buttercups and the Charger 3.0, because I really feel that they work. I normally don't like these tiny grips, and I always have fatter grips, and I run my suspension more firm so I can have more support. I'm gonna look into that and see how it goes, but that's my video for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.